Hey, what's up, YouTube? So, this video today is going to be about firearm safety. I want to talk about firearm safety because of the recent events with the coronavirus and everybody doing all this panic buying of the toilet paper and and disinfectants. But the most important part, panic buying of firearms. Now, that's great. Everybody wants firearms, and that's great. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that don't know nothing about firearms, just that they go bang. They probably don't even know how it goes bang. They just know it goes bang. So, main thing you want to do when you first buy a firearm is always make sure that you treat it as if it's loaded. Okay? If you stay thinking with the mentality that is always loaded, you will never have a problem. Okay? As you get more experience and stuff like that, it's just built in, so you won't have that problem at all. Just treat it as always loaded. And what I mean by that is trigger discipline, which I can talk about that a little bit more later. Trigger discipline. Never put your finger on the trigger at all unless you want it to go bang. Second of all, this is the bad part. You don't want to be on this side. This is the part that goes bang. Never point it at anything you're not willing to destroy. Don't point it at your dogs. Don't point it at your sister. Don't point it at your wife. Don't point it at anybody. The safest place to point it is down. You don't want to point it at an exterior door, at outside of a window. If for some reason the gun were to go off, then for your negligence, not because it goes bang by itself. If for some reason it were to go off, you don't want it to hit your neighbor. You don't want it to hit somebody in the other room. You don't want it to hit anyone around you. You'd rather prefer it hit the floor, and you deal with it from there. That's why point this down. Always treat it as if it's loaded, finger off the trigger. Another thing, this should not be in your hands if it's loaded. If it's ever in your hands, if it's loaded, that's because you're going to unload it, or that's because you are pointing at somebody or a target. Other than that, it should not be in your hands. It should always be inside of a holster. I don't have a holster for this at the moment, so I can't show you, but it should always be in a holster. If it's loaded, it should always be in a holster. If you're unloading it, you do as you wish. But if it's loaded, you should always have it in a holster covering the trigger. Trigger discipline is even if you take it out the trigger, even if you're quick drawing to practice. Obviously, practice when it's unloaded. You grab it, you pull it. This is where your finger should always be. Even when practicing, this is when your finger should always be. Unless you're dry firing. This is where your finger should always be. Even if you're going to point it at somebody, this is where your finger should always be. Unless the threat is serious. Okay? So let's talk about your holster. I said that it's always supposed to be in a holster, right? If you take the gun off for the day, you should take it off with your holster. When you put it back on you at the beginning of the day, put it while it's in your holster. There has been incidents where someone is going to go put it inside their holster when it's on them, put it in their holster, and maybe like their t-shirt or something like that, or part of the holster hits the trigger, and boom, you just shot yourself. Or depending on what part of the body and where it's pointing at, you just shot around you, but still, it's very scary, it's very loud, and calls a lot of attention. Please do it with your holster off your body. Holster it, then put the gun in your waistband. If you have a holster that is secured to your belt and does not get removed, then go ahead and safely put it in your waistband, in your holster, okay? So another thing is, you should never Mexican carry. Now, whoever doesn't know what Mexican carry is carrying a gun, just like you see in all those, mobster movies, putting a gun in your waistband without no holster at all. That's Mexican carry. It's easier to conceal a gun Mexican can carry, but the trigger guard is not covered. So something can easily press the trigger and the gun goes boom. You don't want the gun to go boom by accident. So do not Mexican carry. Get a holster for your firearm. Now, I said that if you're going to holster your gun and have it in your hand, make sure it's clear. You take the magazine out, which I already did to this one, and then safely point it somewhere and rack the slide back. Don't do what these technical gun owners think they're cool and go, okay, it's clear. Nah, it's not clear. Pull it back, inspect the barrel. That only works if you clear the magazine. Please, clearing the magazine is step number one. If you skip that step, you're into a little bit more trouble, maybe. Depends how your mentality is. Clear the magazine. Magazine out. Step one. Finger off the trigger. Pull it back. Inspect the barrel. You physically see with your eyes a clear barrel. And then the gun's good. Click. No bang. The gun's good. At this point, you can practice taking your gun out the holster. You can practice dry firing. You can start cleaning your gun. You can, if you do not know how to clean your gun, then there's a lot of YouTube videos on like every single gun out there to show you how to clean your specific gun, to take it apart and to clean it. And you don't have to be mechanically savvy to clean a gun. You know, it's not, you don't have to take a lot apart. Pretty much you just take the slide and some internals, and that's it to clean it. Some simple cleaning. Or you could probably pay, it's not even that much, but probably pay like $15 or $20 for somebody to clean your gun out in a gunsmith store. But make sure your gun is clean. It's just like giving your car oil change. You have to make sure it's clean. This is why a lot of guns get jammed and you get yourself into some trouble. So jamming could be when, if you don't know exactly what a gun does, when you press the trigger, this goes back, right? This goes back. As this goes back, the bullet that you just finished shooting, the shell pops out. As it pops out, at the same time that goes forward and a new bullet is in there. A way it jams is when this is gonna pop out, the bullet doesn't come out and the shell doesn't come out in time, and when it closes on the shell, so you have the shell popping out. Another jam is that it could double feed. So double feeding is when two bullets try to go in the barrel at the same time. You should check out videos of how to clear jams. If you really want to be efficient, look at videos of how to clear jams. But you can make sure the jam doesn't happen by getting good ammunition. Don't get that bullshit cheap ammunition. Get good ammunition and clean your gun. Clean your gun. That's how you make sure the gun doesn't jam. So please make sure you guys check your guns. Always holster them. Point them at good directions and right directions. And just don't play with them. The guns are not toys. When you end up clearing them, you can kind of sort of play with them. But please be safe. Follow the directions I just gave you, and keep the Second Amendment alive. So, thanks for watching my video.